welcome to Sirenlore Lounge. This is the very first episode. I'm really excited for the future. When I first started Sirenlore Lounge, or even just on this journey that I've been on, I did it because I was in a really dark place a year ago, and I had been prior to that for a long time. I really didn't see a way out. I'm so grateful. I'm, in a sense, almost overwhelmed about how drastically my life has changed. I will always be grateful for the things that happened that put me on this path what I'm on now. There are women out there who maybe are still in that dark place, and that's why I created Sirenlore Lounge. I didn't want it to be perfect, I just wanted it to be real. I wanted to share my journey and hopefully other women's journey. We'll get into that soon. But I really wanted this to be a place of care, compassion, honesty, because we as women have often learned to suffer in silence, and I really want to break that pattern. So that's kind of why I created this little podcast. Yeah, if I even manage to help one person, if I can help in any way, that's good enough for me. Like, that's a win. That's a win. Sometimes it will just be me talking with you, or sometimes I'll have guests on who want to share their stories, their journeys, and the things that shape them. I think it's really important that we have more platforms and spaces to do things like this. I know what it's like to not have a voice. It really gets to me that I know that there's so many others out there that have went through and also are still in that place. Today, for our very first episode, it is going to be about taking steps. Little steps create a legacy. And it's true. You know, it's not one big decision like they make it seem in the movies and then all of a sudden you're exactly where you want to be. Little steps count. They really do. And if you don't take the little steps, you're never going to reach that goal. I want you to reach that. I want you to get where you want to go. And a way to do this is to stop comparing yourself to other people's journeys. You need to stop comparing yourself, because you can't compare your beginning to someone else's middle or ending. Comparing yourself is damaging. We see it a lot on the internet, but what I've noticed is that when we stop comparing ourselves, it's much more easier to take those little steps because we're not concerned about judgment. Think about something you've been putting off recently. It could be a goal, it could be a certain conversation that you're kind of avoiding. You don't have to do anything right now. I'm not telling you should do this, but just have a think about it, what it is, what small step can you take, and how, if you took that small step, how would your life look, or how would you feel about it after? All I'm encouraging is growth by deeper thinking. So another thing about small steps is you can take it in many ways. You could, for example, saying yes to an opportunity that you wouldn't have done before, even if you're nervous, if you're not confident, if it's something, an opportunity that interests you, say yes, try it out, even if you're nervous, do it anyway. When you push past your nerves, because you'll never feel ready. Readiness is a choice. You've got to choose it. After you've done it, you're ready. You're confident in it by then. Even saying no, so you don't always have to say yes, but even saying no is a really good step to take. Proving to yourself that you know what you want, you know your worth enough to say no. There's a lot we can go into with that. I know you've probably heard this from time to time. What helped me is a lot of inner work, because I thought I knew what self-love was like before, but I feel like that was the superficial, not superficial, but surface level. When I went deeper into my growth and my self-love journey, I realised that, this was a while ago, that I actually didn't, and That shook me. And it took me a long time to build it up. Creating small steps can be really tricky. Again, it's built on consistency. That's all it is. That is the trick, is consistency. When I started on this journey, I struggled with my mindset. I had a really negative mindset and I didn't know how to get out of it. I thought it was just me. I thought when you're young, you get things thrown at you, like labels, stuff like that. I just thought, oh, that's me then. That's it. This is just it for me. That changed for me. And one thing I would recommend is the book The Secret, especially if you struggle with mindset. You might not believe everything that's in the book, but what I can say is that the steps that is in it to change your mindset, that is the most powerful element of the book. I learned that I do have control over my mind. When you're in that dark place, you don't realise, you feel like you've got no control over things. The small steps was changing my thought pattern. I started learning about the law of attraction. You keep thinking a good thing, it will attract a good thing. Even if a negative thought popped into my mind, I would switch it up, reframe it. That's important, reframing things to fit your favour. If you're always going to be stuck in a certain mindset, because it is a choice at the end of the day, stepping out of that now, it's hard when you're in it. And that's the thing that I kind of struggle to talk around. Because when you're in it, you're so wrapped up in your pain, it's hard to let go of because it's all you know. That's the way it is. That's the way it's always been in your own experience. It's hard to step out of it and realise that when you continue, it cycles and it is very much like a downward spiral. When you take charge of the things that you can change, because you can't, I'm not saying you can change the things that happened to put you in that dark place, you can't. But you can change the way you get out of it. I think taking small steps, like thoughts. Your thoughts can be your worst enemy or your best friend. So really work on the way you talk to yourself. That energy is also going to ripple through other people. If you don't treat yourself good, other people are not going to treat you good. And then it's a self-fulfilled prophecy. I'm not going to promise you it's the most easiest thing in the world, because it's not, and I don't want to devalue anyone's experiences, because we've all had something happen to us, and just on different levels. And you know what, I feel for everyone that's going through it or has gone through it. Just know that it does get better. It really does. And if you choose to see it, you still got that light at the end of the tunnel. When I was young, I had this, even though I'd gone through so much, I still had this lust for life. I had this big fantasy and I was gonna get to my dreams and do all these wonderful things, and then another thing happened and it kept happening, and things in my life kind of went in a different way to what I thought it was gonna be. And then I kind of lost that spark for life. It kind of felt like I was just drifting through life and kind of just going with the flow. I didn't take direction in my life. I just kind of let things go. I gave my power away to other people. What I've noticed looking back on it, that's how I lost it, because I let things go. The only way out of it is direction. You need to be self-led, taking leadership and direction of your own life, putting it back into the things that nourish you. Healing is not easy. Growth is not easy, but it's possible. It really is. Becoming doesn't happen overnight. And as long as you keep making little steps, keep progressing, you're going to get where you want to be. And you're closer than you think you are. You really are. Before we finish today, I just want to leave you with something. And Think about that one small step that you could take this week that will get you closer to where you want to be. Thank you for joining me. This has been The Feminine Frequency. I'll see you in the next episode. I keep saying energy. Thank you for spending time with me here on Sirenlore Lounge. In Sirenlore Lounge. You've been listening to the energy. And wherever you are on your journey, keep moving forward, one step at a time.